Mariners win 1-0. They avoid the sweep. They improve to 29-27 on the year, and they go 7-3 in the homestand. So you may be noticing that this video is a little later than normal. I do my best to record right after the game because I want to have my thoughts, but we've talked about my work schedule and stuff. So actually, yesterday, what it was, I fell asleep in the first 5 innings of the game, really the second through fifth inning of the game, but I passed out. And then I thought, oh, well, I can record tomorrow anytime because they don't play on Thursday. I'm recording this video right now on Thursday at 5:22 Pacific time. So then the reason why it was this late is, so some of you guys know I'm a card collector. And there was a very exciting card coming to me today. And I got the notification from a certain company that prides itself on being expressed federally, but isn't always as swift as they might like to be, or I'd like them to be. And it said it was coming between 9 and 1. And I said, that's fine. I don't work today. Between 9 and 1, I can wait. Well, I got the card 10 minutes ago. So 7 hours sitting there waiting because it is a card that I had to sign for. And I'm upset about that part. Not upset about the signing part, and I'll show you why in a second. Speaking of signing. But just 7 hours of my day ruined. Could have been recording, could have been writing, could have written that screenplay I've always wanted. Anyway, long story short, it was worth it because look at that guy. Can you see it? It's so, I know, but that's a Julio Rodriguez autographed rookie card, beam team from Stadio Club Chrome. And if you look at the back here, 25 out of 25. What a beaut. What an absolute beaut. It was worth it. It was worth it. If you want to give me Julio Rodriguez autographed rookie cards, I'll wait hours upon hours upon hours. Actually, his card values dropped a little bit, but that happens with everybody. Their rookie year happens and the value just goes shoop, shoop, shoop. And then the second year, it's a low. I'm ultimately, I think it's going to be worth a ton. I'm not selling it because it's something special to me, but yeah, his value's going to hold up just fine. Let's talk about this game that happened many hours ago. 1-0 in extra innings. Let's talk about how it happened. Nothing happened of interest for 9.5 innings. And then Cal Raleigh singles home Jose Caballero to make it 1-0. All right, let's talk about some negatives because you know what? Even in a win, there are some negatives. Offense stunk. One hitter had more than one hit in this game. That would be that Julio Rodriguez guy that we were just talking about. Couple nice knocks for him, but we're talking about the negatives. The bottom of the lineup was atrocious. I will give some credit to Clark Schmidt and Wandy Peralta and Clay Holmes. Certainly, Clay Holmes is very talented, much better than his numbers indicate. Yeah. Schmidt pitched okay. Peralta pitched pretty well. Pathetic offensive performance. Pathetic. And there's been just too much of this lately. They really, thank goodness for this win. It's a big win in a lot of ways because it gives you the 7-3 homestand, which was the goal. Kind of the minimum goal, I guess, but because of how bad the teams were that they played in the first 6 or 7, excuse me. But they get it. They get that. And, you come away on a winning streak. Now you start this big road trip with, I feel better. I feel a lot better after a win than I do after a loss. And one thing to feel better about in both the short and the long term, George Kirby, what can you say? What can you say? He was spectacular and bounced back very nicely from the not so goodness, to say the least, against Pittsburgh in that start. He was fantastic. He threw strikes, but he wasn't middle on almost anything. I mean, you saw the makings of an ace in that outing, and we've seen quite a few of those this year. I don't think that you could possibly, as good as Logan Gilbert has been on a few starts, no question about it. Very little long term, no real long term concerns with Logan Gilbert. Some concerns about like what exactly he is long term for me. Like, is he a number two? Is he a number three? I don't think he's a one. I don't think he's ever going to be an ace. I've changed my mind a few times on this, and maybe he'll change my mind in my next start. But George Kirby, outside of that borderline disaster against Pittsburgh, has looked like an ace. Man, just so impressed. Nice job by Paul Sewald. Nice job by Justin Topa. And of course, we got to talk about Cal Raleigh. Who, look, he was not having a very good game before that double, but he has that double. And I know it ends up being a single, and that's fine. Okay. Easily would have made it to second base if there was a reason to go to second base. I just don't feel like we quite appreciate Cal Raleigh enough. Is he as talented as Julio and Kelnick? No. But do I think he is I think he's their third best player now. And I think you could argue second. He's such a big part of what they're building here. Like, I don't think people realize this is really. Last year he played in a lot of games, but he does not have a ton of experience, major league wise. And he's already looking like a future star, maybe pushing it too far, but a well above average regular. The guy you want behind the plate for multiple championship teams. Cal Raleigh can be that guy. We don't talk about him like it is. And I get it. It's not as fun to talk about him as Julio. It's not as fun to talk about him as Kelnick. It's not as fun to talk about him as like maybe Castillo and Kirby and the pitchers. Maybe not. But he's just as important, if not equal, if not better than those names I just named at the end. I'll be honest with you. I had a thought last year about the middle of June, and this was when Raleigh was really starting to play well. I was wondering, would a Cal Raleigh for Wilson Contreras trade make sense? Because I just wasn't, and I've been the high man on Raleigh. If you go search twitter.com, I have defended and really liked this guy coming out of Florida State as well. So this was not me like just not being willing to see the forest before the trees or whatever. It was more just about the fact that, man, Wilson Contreras would make a lot of sense and be a really good player. And I do like Wilson Contreras and think he is a good player. And I think St. Louis has handled his situation horribly. But I'm sure glad that Jerry didn't ESPA me and ESP me. If I said ESP, I don't think I did. Doesn't matter. That was a little bit of crazy person talk there. I'm glad they didn't make that move. And that's not an insult to Contreras. It's a huge compliment to Raleigh. Appreciate him and hope that this team gets a long-term extension done with him for a win-win-win for all of us. It's a win for the Seattle Mariners because they lock up a very, very, very good catcher for a long time. It's a win for the Cal Raleigh because the Cal Raleigh gets a nice little paycheck. It's a win for us because we get to watch him play, and he's going to help a lot more than he's going to hurt. A lot more. Got to appreciate him more. Got to appreciate him more. Needed it too. Because, man, this would have been a depressing video to do if it was a sweep. Talking about 28 and 28, back at 500, going into just a monster of a road trip. This is to me, I understand how much baseball there is left to be played. This is a little bit of a separator trip. I don't even know what your goal should be here. To look good, to look good is important. But so they've got the Rangers for 3, San Diego for 2, and Los Angeles for 8. 4 and 4? Are you okay with 4 and 4 there? I think I'm okay with 4 and 4. Yeah. Yeah, that's big though. That is a big series. And what you can't do is go 2 and 6 or 3 and 5 would be like, that's not great. But you know, just winning one game per these next 3 series. Okay. Or maybe you win 2 of 3 and 1 and lose a couple to the Padres, who, you know, super talented, have not played up to their potential, but as talented a baseball team as any. And Texas is legit. Texas is legit. I talked about this on Twitter. They need to add some relief help for sure, but they're a great organization for doing that because I think you've probably seen this in the past a bunch. One of the things teams like to trade relievers for is lottery tickets. Players that have, it's a chance to say, man, you moved a reliever and you got this guy. He became a star. How did this work out? You see a lot of that, and Texas is chock full of lottery tickets. Always is. Always is. A lot of them don't work out. A lot of them you scratch and you get cherry, whatever the heck the other thing would be. But they're always full of that stuff, and they will be aggressive at this deadline, assuming they keep playing like this. So, yeah, this is a big road trip coming. Should be fun, too. Should be fun. Tomorrow's pitching matchup is Luis Castillo against John Gray. Gray pitched really well against him last time. Got a lot of feedback or pushback about John Gray being good. John Gray is good. Talk about a pitcher who has taken advantage of not having to pitch in that cesspool anymore. He was much better than his 3.96, and 3.96 isn't an abhorrent ERA by any stretch of the imagination. But he's been great this year. 2.81 ERA, 46 to 19 strikeout to walk ratio, will certainly play. This is tough. This is tough. And you want to see them play well. You want to see the results, but you really want to see them play well. You want to see that to build. I do anyway. I just imagine you feel the same way I do, but I would really like to see some inspiring baseball over these next 8 games, and it starts on Friday. I'm excited. Should be fun. You okay with a 4 and 4 road trip? Is that going to be okay with you? Are you okay that they had a 7 and 3 homestand? You should be with that. 8 and 2 would have been really nice, but 7 and 3, it's still major league teams, folks. Follow me on Twitter at Crawford_MILB. Sports Sometimes podcast. Please check that out. Just did an episode last week with Meg Raleigh, which was so much fun. It talks about all the fun things to do in Seattle. I'll ask you this too, and this is my way of finding out if people are watching these videos all the way through. The wheel, worth it? If you're a tourist, is it worth it? I know it's not worth it to do it too often as a Seattle person because it's so expensive, but is it worth it? I've never done it because I am not a tourist, and $17 to go on a Ferris wheel. But if you're just in town for a little bit, is it worth it? Let's embrace debate. Let's not embrace debate. But tell me what you think about that. Yeah. Thank you, Big Dumper. I know people don't talk about you like you're one of these core players, but you are, and then some. And George Kirby, I salute you too. Let's see a series win. Let's see some fun over the weekend. I'm really glad I got my baseball card.